Namaste students. We have seen the introduction of number systems on some operations on number systems. So as a continuation of part 1, so we are moving on to part 2 in this video. So at the end of the session, you are expected to rationalize the denominator of the given expression, so which are in square root terms, and extend the laws of exponents to the irrational numbers, right? So we'll see some operations on real numbers. So before that, I want to explain what are real numbers. So before explaining what is a real number, I'll explain that there are two categories of real numbers. So one is a rational number, the other is an irrational number. So we have seen what is a rational number, what is an irrational number in the last video itself, right? So below this category, below this rational numbers comes all the integers, fractions, whole numbers, natural numbers, everything. So for whole numbers, natural numbers, integers, fractions or rational numbers, right? So Q represents the rational numbers. So the other numbers which does not come under rational are known as irrational numbers, root 2, root 3, pi, root 6. So square root of any non-perfect square numbers are known as irrational numbers. So we have already seen this in the previous video, right? So operation between any two rational numbers or any two irrational numbers like this. So for example, if I'm having root 2 plus 3 times root 2, right? So in addition and subtraction of irrational numbers, so you have to two irrational numbers, you have to consider these irrational numbers as variables. So what do we consider as in variable addition or subtraction? What do we consider? 3x plus 2y will not be considered as 5xy or 5x or 5y or 5xy. Nothing like that. We cannot simplify further, right? So 3x plus 2y is 3x plus 2y, right? So how do we consider this one? We'll consider x as some product, y as some other product. For example, x as apples and y as mangoes. So 3 apples plus 2 mangoes. I cannot say it as 5 mangoes, or I cannot say it as 5 apples. I cannot say it as 5 apple mangoes. No. So it is 3 apples and 2 mangoes. Nothing can be done there, right? So in addition and or subtraction of irrational numbers also, we'll use the same method, right? So 3 root 2 plus 2, root 2 plus 3 root 2, I can consider this as apples. So 1 apple plus 3 apples is 4 apples. So 4 root 2, right? So if I'm having it as root 2 plus 2 root 3, it is apple plus 2 mangoes. So I cannot simplify further, right? So I'll keep it as is, right? So we'll see some more examples on, this is just to give a hint on how do we proceed with operations in irrational numbers. So we'll see more rules as we progress, right? So we have theories behind all these rules. So if time permits, we'll see all these theories, right? So some of the irrational numbers are given here. So 7 root 5, 7 by root 5. Even you cannot multiply an irrational number and a rational number, right? So if you are having it as 7 root 5, you cannot take it as root 35, or you cannot take it as 35. So it is 7 root 5, that's it. Or 7 by root 5 for that matter, right? If you are having it as root 7 multiplied by root 5, then you can write it as root 35. You can multiply two irrational numbers, right? You can multiply two rational numbers, right? So if you're having it as 2 root 7 multiplied by 3 root 5, you can multiply the two rational numbers here. 2 into 3 is 6. Root 7 into root 5 is root 35, for example, right? So this process is allowed. So there are few rules which are few facts which have been given here. The first one is the sum or difference of a rational number and an irrational number is always irrational, which means 3 plus root 5 or 2 minus root 3 is always an irrational number. This whole term is an irrational number, right? Because I am subtracting an irrational number, we have already seen what is an irrational number, right? So, whose decimal expansion is non-terminating and non-recurring, right? So if you are subtracting such a number, your result will also be such a number, right? So similarly, the product or quotient means division, right? So we have already seen these words of a non-zero rational number and an irrational number is also irrational, right? So example, as we have already seen, 2 root 3 is irrational. Fine. So why it is given as non-zero rational number? Because 0 is also a rational number. So if you are multiplying an irrational number by 0, automatically it becomes 0, which is a rational number. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So if you are multiplying an irrational number by 0, it becomes rational. So that is why they have mentioned it as non-zero rational number. So we can, if we add, subtract, multiply or divide two rational numbers, the result may be rational or may be irrational. So if you are multiplying two irrational numbers, for example, so root 32 multiplied by root 2. So root 32 is irrational because it is not a perfect square number. Root 2 is also irrational. It is not a perfect square number. So the product is root 64. So which is rational because I'm getting it. Right? For another example, root 2 multiplied by root 3, which is root 6. I cannot take it as a rational number. So it can be either irrational or rational. So similarly, in addition or subtraction of two numbers, right? So if you are having one number as 2 plus root 3, the other number as 2 minus root 3, right? So irrational number can also be negative. So if one can be 2 plus root 3 or the other can be 2 minus root 3, if I'm adding these two, what happens? These root 3 and minus root 3 gets cancelled, it becomes rational number. Or if it is 2 plus root 3 and 2 plus root 3. So this becomes 4 plus 2 root 3, it is irrational. So either it can be rational or irrational, right? Or in subtraction, you can consider this like this: 2 plus root 3 as one number, 5 plus root 3 as the other number. So if I'm subtracting these two, so I have to put brackets when you are subtracting. So this negative sign belongs to both 5 as well as root 3. So 2 plus root 3 minus 5 minus root 3. So these two gets cancelled. And then I'll have 2 minus 5, which is minus 3, which is rational again. So it can be rational also when you are subtracting. When you are subtracting, it can be irrational also if you are considering this as minus. Fine, simple. So they have given an exercise here to position an irrational number or to find the length of an irrational number geometrically, right? So I'll explain this theoretically if we can see that in the class with an example, right? So if you are asked to find the length of, represent the length of root 6 geometrically. So first I'll draw a straight line which is of 6 units. So from there, I'll include one more unit. So the total length of that will be x plus 1 or 6 plus 1 in this case, right? Then I'll use the perpendicular bisector concept to divide the line into two equal halves. Then I'll draw a semicircle with this point as the center and half of the length of this one as the radius, right? Then I'll draw a perpendicular line from the point B. So let this be A, B, and C, where AB is equal to 6 units in this case, or x units generally, right? So this, if I am giving another name here, D. Yes, that's how they have given, right? I'll use the same notations. So BD will give you the length of that irrational number, which is root 6. Right? So they have given some theoretical explanations here. So you just go through the explanation which is given in the textbook. Again, we'll see that in detail in class. Right? So we'll do that as an activity anyways, no issues. So what about these numbers? We have some more expressions here. There is a square root of 8 and they have given a number 3 small just above the square root symbol. So this represents the cube root of 8, which means you have to what will you do if you are having root of 64? So you will check for a number multiplying, when multiplied twice you should get 64, right? So if you are having a number like this, you should get check for a number when you are multiplying thrice, because I have 3 here, you should get 8. So what is the number? 2. So if I'm multiplying 2 3 times, I'll get 8. So this is cube roots. So we have already seen cubes and cube roots in 8th standard, right? So the same applies for 5th root also. So 5th root of 243. So I have to check for a number. When I'm multiplying the same number 5 times, I should get 243. In this case, it is 3, right? So 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27, 27 3s are 81, 81 3s are 243. Fine. So I have used 5 3s here. Fine. Okay. So the concept they have said here is, so if cube root of 8 is equal to 2, so 8 is nothing but 2 power 3. So the same concept is used here. So if nth root of A is equal to B, so A is equal to B power n. Simple. So you can use all other operations simply. So root of AB is root of A multiplied by root of B. Nothing else can be done. So similarly for division also, you cannot simplify further, right? So if you have a common factor between A and B, yes, you can simplify. Other than that, you cannot simplify further. If the HCF of A and B is 1, you cannot simplify further, right? So again, A plus B multiplied by A minus B will be A square minus B square. So in this case, it will be root A the whole square. In this case, third subdivision, root A the whole square minus root B the whole square. So since I am squaring, squares and roots will get cancelled, right? So as we have seen, these two are reverse processes as multiplication and division, right? So this will be A minus B. Fine. So the same applies for the other formulas also. You just give a try. Fine. In this case, in the 5th subdivision, they have multiplied these two brackets. So root A multiplied by root C, root A multiplied by root T, root B multiplied by root C, root B multiplied by root. So as we do in the normal algebraic operations. So then now we come to the rationalization of denominator. So if I'm having a number like 1 by root 2 as it has been mentioned here, or 3 by root 7, I'll take another example. So you can see that my denominator is an irrational number. So it is nothing wrong in representing a number which is having denominator as irrational, but usually in standard form we'll be representing that in rational. So we usually will be making the denominator as a rational number. So how do I convert this as a rational number? So I know that root 7, when it is multiplied by root 7 again, it becomes 7, so that it becomes a rational number, right? So I have to multiply the denominator by root 7. So can I multiply a number only in the denominator or only in the numerator? I cannot do that, as the value of the number becomes changed, right? Is changing. So what should I do? I should multiply in the numerator also. So what I am doing, I am multiplying and dividing the numerator and denominator by the irrational number which is in the denominator itself, right? So it is, if it is a by root b, I'll multiply by root b and root b, divide by root b. So this is how it goes, right? So this becomes 3 root 7 divided by root 7 into root 7 is 7. So what happens now? Now my numerator is becoming irrational. So you cannot change that. If you are trying to convert a numerator into a rational number, your denominator again becomes irrational, right? So you can either make denominator or the numerator to be rational. So usually we'll keep the denominator as rational, right? Because when we are taking LCM and all, it will be easier if my denominator is rational. If it is irrational, it is very difficult for me to handle. Not impossible, but difficult. Fine. So this process is known as rationalizing the denominator. What if I'm having a number like this, 1 by 2 plus root 3, right? So I'll multiply and divide by the conjugate. What is a conjugate? A conjugate is a number which has a small change in the sign. So if this is 2 plus root 3, the conjugate of this number will be 2 minus root 3. I'll only change the sign of the square root term. Fine. So if it is given as 3 root 3 plus 2, I'll take the conjugate as minus root 3 plus 2. Right? I will not write it as 2 root 3 minus 2. Fine. So I'll multiply and divide by its conjugate. I'll be multiplying by 2 minus root 3 divided by 2 minus root 3. So what happens if I'm multiplying by 2 minus root 3? My denominator becomes a plus b into a minus b. Right? So that is why we are multiplying by with its conjugate. If I'm having a number as a plus b, I'll multiply with a minus b such that it becomes a squared minus b squared. So I'm squaring the a term as well as squaring the b term. So when I'm squaring an irrational number, it becomes rational. Fine. So what is happening here? We'll see that too. Fine. So this becomes 2 minus root 3 divided by, this is a plus b into a minus b format. So I'll write it as a squared minus b squared. So 2 squared minus root 3 the whole square, which is 2 minus root 3 divided by 4 minus 3, which is 1. So 2 minus root 3 divided by 1 is 2 minus root 3. That's it. Right? So I have rationalized my denominator, but still my numerator is irrational. So what happens if I'm having a number like this, 3 minus root 3 minus root 5? You just change any one, or usually you will change the second term. So you just change the root 5 value. So root 5 sign. So you multiply by root 3 plus root 5 divided by root 3 plus root 5. Right? So what if I am mistakenly doing it as minus root 3 minus root 5? I'm changing the sign of root 3. So this is minus root 3 minus root 5. So what happens if I'm doing like this? What happens? I'll take my negative sign now commonly outside from the numerator and denominator. Minus of root 3 plus root 5. Minus of root 3 plus root 5. So anyways, these two gets cancelled. So nothing changes here, right? So we'll see the problems in the regular classes, fine, online sessions. So then laws of exponents. We have already seen some laws of exponents used in algebra, right? So a power m multiplied by a power n is a power m plus n. So if your base is same, you will add the powers, right? So if your base is different and the power is same, what will you do? You will write it as, you will multiply the base and write it as, if you are having it as 2 power 3 multiplied by 7 power 3. So you can write it as 2 into 7, 14, the whole power 3. So that is what the fourth law says. So second law is, so a power m, the whole power n, if it is given like that, you can multiply the powers. Fine. And if it is a power m divided by a power n, you can subtract the powers, which means a power m minus n, right? So if you are multiplying the numbers, you will add the powers. If you are dividing the numbers, you will subtract the powers. Fine. We have already seen this. The same rules applies here also, right? So what is a power 0? What is anything power 0? So we have already seen that it is equal to 1. So why is it equal to 1? Why anything power 0 is equal to 1? So I'll give you an example here. 2 power 1 is 2. 2 power 2 is 4. 2 power 3 is 8. 2 power 4 is 16. 2 power 5 is 32. So what is happening here? Sorry, 32. What is happening here? For every step I'm doing, I'm multiplying with 2. So multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. In the next step, I'll multiply by 2 again. So this process goes on, right? So what if I'm going in reverse? So 2 power 5 to 2 power 4, what happens? I'm dividing by 2. So here I am dividing by 2. So again dividing by 2. So again dividing by 2. What happens to my power? 2 power 5, 2 power 4, 2 power 3, 2 power 2, 2 power 1. My powers getting reduced by 1. So the next one will be 2 power 0. So this will be divided by 2 again. So what is 2 divided by 2? 1. Right? So not only for 2 it applies for any other number also. Yes, you can proceed with any other number. Just give a try with any other number. Right? So what happens if I'm going beyond this? 2 power minus 1, as they have given here. A power minus n. So again I'll divide by 2. No big deal. This is 1 by 2. What happens to the next step? So 2 power minus 2. So this is again I will divide by 2. So this is 1 by 2 into 2. Can I write it as 1 by 2 square? Right? I'll go something even more beyond. So 2 power minus 3. So this is 1 by 2 into 2 into 2. I have to divide one more times by 2. So this is nothing but 1 by 2 power 3. So what happens to 2 power a power 2 power n? 2 power minus n? This will be 1 by 2 power n, whatever the value of n may be. For that matters, a power minus n can be written as 1 by a power n. And one more thing about the exponents. So nth root of a. So we have already seen the square root of a is equal to b. So a will be equal to b power 2. Or nth root of a is equal to b. A is equal to b power n. Right? So here nth root of a can also be written as a power 1 by n. Right? So cube root of 2 can also be expressed as 2 power 1 by 3. Right? So if I'm having it as 3 power 2, I'll multiply 3 2 times. If I'm having it as 3 power 1 by 2, I'll check for the reverse process. So I have to check for a number. When I'm multiplying 2 times, I should get 3. Or take another example. If I'm having it as 9 power 2, I'll multiply 2 times and make it as 81. If it is 9 power 1 by 2, so I'll check for a number. When multiplying 2 times, I should get 9. Right? So there is a difference. So this should be 3. So the same rule applies here also. A power p multiplied by a power q is a power p plus q. The same laws of exponents applies here too. So we'll see the problems in the online session. For example, I can do a problem here. 16 power 3 by 4. So I can write it as 16 power 1 by 4, the whole power. Oh, one more step I'll do. So can I write it as 16 power 3 multiplied by 1 by 4 or 1 by 4 multiplied by 3? Right? So in the next step, I'm writing it as 16 power 1 by 4, the whole power 3. Because a power mn can be written as a power m, the whole power n. Right? So 16 power 1 by 4, I should look for a number when I'm multiplying 4 times, I should get 16. So what is the number? 2. So try multiplying 2 4 times. 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8, 8 2s are 16. So 16 power 1 by 4 is 2. So 2 power 3. So 2 power 3, I have to multiply 2 3 times. It should be 8. Fine. For example, I have done this one. So we'll see the other problems in the online section. Fine. With this, the chapter gets over. Fine. So our next chapter will be coordinate geometry. Fine. We'll see that in the next week. Fine. Thank you.